Years ago in Toronto at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, I met a guy named Robin Sharma. He's the author of The Monk Who Sold his Ferrari. And Robin Sharma gave me one piece of advice that totally clicked. And I've been teaching this and expanding on it in what I call the number one thing that millionaires do for success every single day and twice on Sunday. All right. Hi, this is Craig Ballantyne, author of The Perfect Week Formula. This is my latest book, and it was inspired by Robin, but also inspired by my friend Bedros Keuilian. Bedros Keuilian is an entrepreneur in America, and he has a franchise called Fit Body Bootcamp. I'm actually a franchise owner. I have 3 locations. Now, you see, Bedros is a super busy entrepreneur, and you're probably busy too. You're a busy parent, or you're a busy youngster starting their first business. Whatever it is, Bedros shares a lot with you. He has 2 kids, he has a huge business, he loves to work out, he loves the adventure lifestyle, rock climbing, shooting guns, all that kind of stuff. So how the heck does he get it all done? And the answer is in the Perfect Week Formula. And these 2 words, or this like one hyphenated word, I'm not sure what you call this. The word though is non-negotiables, okay? Non-negotiables. So what's that one thing that millionaires do every day and twice on Sunday? The answer is planning. Okay, so this is the Perfect Week Formula, and I'm going to walk you through it. And you see that we plan twice on Sundays. Now, when you have a plan, as Benjamin Franklin said, you either have a plan or you fail to plan. And when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Another one of my mentors, a guy named Nito Cobain, had a kind of similar phrase, and he said, plan your work, work your plan. Plan your work, work your plan. Nito is one of the greatest speakers I have ever seen in my life, and he helped me become more animated in my speaking and tell better stories. He was so great, and he varied his pitch, his pace, his tonality, just like you have to in your stories. And I planned this video, and I was going to work my plan because I planned my work. So a shout out there to Nito. So the daily planning is essential. And that's why I wrote this book called The Perfect Day Formula. The Perfect Day Formula then led me to create something called the Perfect Day Formula script. And that's what I want to talk about right now. Every single entrepreneur I know, especially those who are very successful, 8 figures, 9 figures, and more, do extensive daily planning. And when I teach clients to go through the Perfect Week Formula, one of the things that I focus on is that you must have an end of day cutoff routine. And there's 3 things that are involved that are right here on this sheet. So the first thing that you do, I want you to take a pen and paper and write this down. The first step of the end of day planning routine is called a brain dump, okay? You're gonna take all the stuff that's cluttered up in your head, you're gonna dump it out down on paper, okay? Scrap piece of paper will work, or one of these scripting pads. We have a little section for it here. But a scrap piece of paper, and you're gonna write down, oh, I gotta email all these people tomorrow, I gotta call all these people, I gotta write this script, I gotta do this sales planning, I gotta work on this PowerPoint, I gotta run these errands, I gotta get milk, I gotta pick up the dog, oh my gosh, I gotta pick up the kids too, and then I gotta work out. Man, you got it all out of your head, okay? So that's great. That's the brain dump. Now, the next phase is doing a priority to-do list. Right now you're thinking, no, wait a minute, you don't do your to-do list at night, you do it in the morning. Wrong, wrong, wrong. If you're doing your to-do list in the morning, you're already too late, and here's why. Research shows that we have the greatest willpower, discipline, and intention in the morning. And so if you're waking up and you're using and directing your greatest willpower, discipline, and intention to planning, then you've got your priorities messed up, okay? You want to do this, but your energy's going in the wrong way. This is a time of day to attack the hardest thing. As Brian Tracy wrote a book about it, and Mark Twain gave the famous quote, you got to eat that frog. Eat that frog? What the heck are you talking about, Mr. Ballantyne? Well, eat that frog simply means you got to do the hardest, most unlikable thing first thing in the morning. That's when you have to write the book chapter. That's when you have to write the sales plan. That's when you have to go over your finances. That's when you have to do the hard things, not plan. So we take that brain dump, all those 25 things we wrote down, and we organize it into a priority to-do list the night before so that we wake up and we get into it first thing in the morning. And I'm actually a big believer in the subconscious mind. And maybe you are too. Subconscious mind, if we tell it what to do, if we say, hey, we're going to write chapter 2 of our book tomorrow morning, well, the subconscious mind will actually go to bed the night before and work on it while we sleep so that when we wake up the next day, it comes out a little bit easier, that second chapter. And there's a really cool story about Napoleon Hill. Maybe you've heard of his book, Think and Grow Rich. Raise your hand if you have, all right? No, I have. I've read it a couple times. And it's a really fantastic book. Sold millions upon millions of copies. And again, Think and Grow Rich. What a great title. Well, as legend has it, 5 hours before Napoleon had to submit the book, the title was, get this, Use Your Noodle to Get the Boodle. Can you believe that? Can you imagine the greatest self-help book in history with that title? It would have sold 5 copies. But here's what Napoleon did. He was like, man, I don't like this title. I'm going to have a nap. And he had a nap that afternoon before the deadline of his book. And when he woke up, hey, what about Think and Grow Rich? And that title launched millions upon millions of sales. So if you take that brain dump, you prioritize it in the to-do list, and you know that you have to write chapter 2 of the book, and then you tell your brain, hey brain, I'm going to go to sleep for 8 hours, but I want you to write some of that chapter of my book, your brain will go, okay, I got nothing else to do. And so it will. And you'll wake up and you'll be able to write that book faster. But there's a third part that makes it even more effective. And the third part is called process planning. So as a writer, I know how hard it is to write a book. And even when you tell your subconscious mind, I need to write chapter 2, sometimes it takes the day off. And so you wake up the next morning, you go to your computer, you open up the thing, and you look at a blank Word document, and you just stare at it. Like a deer in headlights, you stare at it. And then you give up. You go, and the next thing you know, you're cleaning the other room or whatever it is, you're procrastinating. You're waiting, you're hesitating, and your dreams are just flying by and you're not achieving your goals. So what I realized was, if I know what I need to do the next day, it's the number one thing on my priority to-do list, then I can do a little bit of process planning. I can come up with a couple of things to make it easier for me to get into it. And I admit, I stole this from Chip and Dan Heath in their book, Switch, which was about habit change. And they said if you want to make a new habit stick, the best thing to do is to make it easy to do the new habit. So for example, if we go to the simplest example, a lot of people want to exercise first thing in the morning, but they're not exercisers. And they wake up and they go, oh my goodness, my workout clothes are still in the closet. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to go back to bed. But if you wake up and your exercise clothes are right there and you put them on, well, as Mary Poppins says, half begun is half done. And it's the same with our number one priority in our workday. If I go to bed and I say, all right, listen, I want to wake up and write chapter 2 for my book, and here are 5 bullet points I can write about, it's going to be so much easier for my brain to do the work overnight and for me to do the work in the morning because I have a very smooth path to follow. So on our daily planning, that is done the night before so that we have success tomorrow. The 3 things are the brain dump first, the priority to-do list next, and then a little bit of process planning to make the path smooth. And the next thing you know, you're dominating your day and getting 3 times as much done in your morning magic time. It's a game changer in life. I tell you what, if you do that every single day, you'll be more successful. But what do you do twice on Sundays? What's that all about? So we go back to the perfect week formula. After I wrote the perfect day formula, I realized, I wrote the wrong book. I wrote the wrong book. There's 7 days in a week, Craig, duh. So I realized, going back to Bedros and the non-negotiables, not only does he run a huge business, not only does he get to work out almost every day, not only does he get home on time for family dinner and play with his kids before dinner and after, but he never, ever, ever misses Wednesday night, date night. I go down to see Bedros all the time in California from my home in Canada, and 5 o'clock on Wednesday, I scribbled out Thursday, forget it. Every 5 p.m. on Wednesday, he kicks me out of the office or the car that we're driving. He says, see you later, buddy, you're on your own. It's date night tonight. It's non-negotiable. It goes on the calendar. So what I tell people to do on Sunday morning in their planning session is put their non-negotiables on the calendar. If you want to work out 3 times per week and you're not working out right now, put it on the calendar. Like a visit to the dentist, like a call with your lawyer, put it on the calendar as a non-negotiable, and then plan your life around it. And when you do that, you will get all the important stuff in your personal life while still getting all of your work done. Now, in addition to that, I teach people how to have the right wake-up time and never hitting snooze. I teach them how to do the cutoff time, which I've already talked to you about, and I teach them how to use a reverse alarm so they go to bed on time and get up in the morning on time. The reverse alarm is simply something very simple. An hour before bed, you set an alarm on your phone, and when that alarm goes off, you shut your phone down, you stop watching Netflix, and you shut off all your electronics, and you're left with cleaning up and having a shower and talking to your spouse and reading to your kids and reading a book or journaling, and finally you fall asleep on time, which allows you to get up on time and dominate your day and the to-do list you prepared the night before. And all of this weekly planning is done on Sunday for the week ahead, and that's why we do daily planning, and then twice on Sunday we do a planning session. So when you have that stuff in place, my friend, you will build the perfect week formula. And you'll be like my client, Amy Ledeen, who has 5 kids, 7-figure business that she runs with her husband. They never miss date night. She just beat cancer. She was featured on Ed Milet's podcast. This woman is unstoppable. And she says, Craig, ever since you taught me how to do the planning the night before, I've been able to work from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., be done every day for when my kids get home from school. Her 5 kids get home from school. She's had more time for her life by spending less time in her business because she's more planned. If it will work for her, if it'll work for Robin Sharma, if it'll work for Bedros, if it'll work for me, if it'll work for young and old, people as young as 16 up to people using this at age 80. I just shared this with my girlfriend's grandmother the other day. She's 82. She listened to my podcast about the perfect week formula and said, I can't believe it, but you actually taught me something. All right, so it works for every single person. So what I want you to do is go to perfectweekformula.com. Get a free copy of this book. And then, now that I have shown you how to get more done, what I want you to do is go and watch another video of mine that is going to dive deeper into planning your life and planning the next 90 days for you to accomplish your personal and professional goals faster than you thought possible. And that video is at theballantynemethod.com. All right, so either click the link below or simply type in theballantynemethod.com and watch that next video and go through the 3 exercises that will show you how to get results faster than you ever thought possible.